the mighty hand plane. But does the sole have to be flat? Oh, well, I'm going to try and debunk the flatness of your sole. Or at least, does it really need to be? Well, I've discovered something today that I have. And it's quite logical, really, but we're all hell-bent that we've got to have our sole perfectly flat. From toe to heel. But I disagree with that now. Yes, I feel stupid. That I do. Well, you see, I've got this number 7 jointer hand plane, and it's a lovely hand plane it is. I've spent a lot of time making sure that my sole is flat, alongside this number 5 here, and along with number 6 behind me, and all my hand planes. I spend a lot of time to make sure they're perfectly flat. But I know now that there are areas on the hand plane that doesn't make any blooming difference whatsoever. Actually, diddly squat, in fact. Yes, including the humble smoother, such as this number 4 here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a series of passes, okay, and we're going to check for flatness using a feeler gauge here. Ooh, yes, the feeler gauge. That's what we're going to do, okay? So what I'm going to do, first of all, using the number 7, because the differences should be more obvious, I suppose, on a number 7, because it's longer, isn't it, And we're supposed to have it flat from toe to heel. Really? Okay. Well, what I'm going to do also is I'm going to get this pen. It's a dry white marker, so don't worry. It's not permanent on my lovely number 7 baby. No. So there's an area of this hand plane behind the mouth, not in front of the mouth, because I would argue that that should really be pretty darn flat. And also the back here should be pretty darn flat. But this area here, not just behind the mouth, but probably up about there, doesn't need to be flat. Now you see, when they make these things, okay, years ago, they used to do the castings, they used to bash them about, stick on a pile outside, after they've been released from their moulds and stuff, and they'd be weathered. They're what we call seasoning, and any tension that's built up in the iron would disperse over a period of time, and then they give it a bit of rattle about with a digger or a hot something, anyway, bash them about, and as such, it disperses more tension inside the iron. They don't do that anymore. No, maybe some higher end do, but most of them don't now. They actually just make everything heavier. Well, you see, during that seasoning process, the iron itself effectively can shrink. Seriously, it can shrink, causing your plane not to be uniform across its sole, even after machining, but also behind, especially behind the heavier areas, like behind the mouth of the plane, behind the plane iron. This area here, that area there, yeah. So this area here, what I'm going to do is just remove that, all right? I'm going to prove it to you, all right? I'm going to do some little scribblies there, all right? We're also going to use some feeder gauges just behind the plane iron, okay? Now, you would argue that I would argue, if it had to be perfectly flat from toe to heel, when I take a shaving with this plane on this piece of wood, I would rub off all the ink as I'm taking the shaving. It basically be making contact. That's what you'd expect, isn't it? But, oh dear, give me that chair. Go get that out of the way. Get over there, you chair. Down, boy, down. Right, so I'm going to take the shaving. First of all, I'm going to go about halfway across, all right? And then we'll go to our ink. Yeah, well, just over halfway, because I need to get a fair balance between on the plane, so we're just going just over the end with this long one. Maybe I should have chosen a longer piece of wood. Anyway, so here we go. I'm going to take a shaving with this number 7 Stanley Bailey. About there, I reckon that'll do. All right? And I'm going to grab my feeler gauges, which I've lost. Oh, there they are. I've got my feeler gauges, which is basically just a series of little thin pieces of metal, sprung steel, and they've got like, 0.2 on this one. And I'm going to use that, because I can't get my fingers in, you see, because my fingers aren't that thin. All right? Now, at the toe of the plane, here, okay, there's no way, I'll find a bit where it is, I can't get it in, all right? It will not go in there, no, not at all. Nowhere near long, because it's flat, and it's on the piece of wood. It says it's trapped, can't push it in, no. Same difference will be at the heel of the plane. I can't actually physically get it in, no. But you see, now taking the shaving out the middle, this plane is now really balancing from the heel area to the toe area of the plane. It's balancing between the two. And we remove material out of the middle, behind the actual plane iron, because that's the bit we just removed, isn't it? So everything from behind the plane iron has been removed. Well, now, effectively, we are actually balancing between 2 points. So, if I grab this feeler gauge and slide that down the middle here, it slides in no trouble whatsoever. So the sole hasn't got no contact. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on taking my shaving. I hope I don't mess this up. You'll see. All right, I'm going to come along over here, and what happened is I'll drop off the end, okay? I'm going to drop off the end, yeah. Don't drop off the end. Don't slip off now. See, I just dropped off the end, okay? Now, if I lift my plane up, I can see there's no ink there whatsoever, okay, on this area of the piece of wood. Let me bring it to you so you can see. It's a bit faint, but it is there on the other end. Can you see where it dropped off the end? It made it's a little bit of stain. I left the plane too long and the ink started drying. And it's only a dry white pen. So it's you see a bit of redness on there. So it's where the plane iron's dropped off the end, and then the back of the behind the mouth has made contact with a piece of wood. But where the actual cut was made up to, or even anywhere along here, okay, there's no evidence of any red ink, only at the end. To there, see? Now we're going to try that with 2 other planes, all right? We're going to try it with the number 5, but also the number 4. So my argument here, as you can see here, is that it's actually rubbed it off once I dropped off the end, but it didn't actually make any contact until I did. So that means if that is lower there, it doesn't matter because it's not making contact anyway, at any point. Apart from when you fly off the end of your piece of wood. Can you see my point? Or do you think I'm crazy? Maybe crazy. All right, I'm going to take another shave and clean off what's there with this number 5 jack plane. Well, I'm taking quite heavy shavings just so I can make a point. So I'm going to do exactly the same again. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't know. Now, do you know what actually made me wonder about this? And I start questioning it. Because all it's behind the plane iron, it never gets polished off. It's actually obvious on this one. Can you see here? I use my hand planes a lot, right? And just behind there, it's not polished off, but everywhere is. Where it's making good contact, it's polished off, but where it's not making contact with the wood, it's a bit more tarnished looking. That's what made me, notice, hang on, why is that? This is a very old hand plane. It's a bit rusty a few times, this one is, but I did spend quite a bit of time making it flat. Used to be my dad's, you see. Wartime effort, this one. So I'm going to put ink behind here again, behind the actual plane iron. Not as far along as Tom, because the plane is shorter. So we're going to do exactly the same thing again. And this is a number 5 joint, jack plane. Okay, gone to about there. Now, I slipped a little bit. That shave's not that thick there, so that's where that knot is a knot in it. Get a bit under. No contact there. I can't get it between. So, hold that. What barely go in? No, I'm going. No, I'm going. We'll do that one again because I think I judged where that knot is. So let's take a longer shaving and then start again because I think I messed that up. Although, can you see though? I just took 2 shavings off there and touched the ink. It doesn't matter, does it? Let me try and do this without jumping off again this time. Let's try again. I'm going to go up to that knot because I kind of started to shave and got to the knot, then it went a bit skewy. And I don't really want to redo it just for that. So anyway, I'm going to put the actual feeler gauge at the front here, and it doesn't want to go in. Nope. And at the back, don't want to go in. And in the middle, big old space. Can you see that? Massive space going in. No problems whatsoever. Loads of slackness. When I bring the feeler gauges back to about there, it's now gripping. Yeah, it's gripping back there. It's quite far back actually, back there. So it might not be as flat as I'd like it to be anyway, to be honest. But yeah, it's making contact between there, from there to there. So all this area on here, underneath here isn't actually engaging with the wood anyway. So, what does it do? Right, so anyway, let's try this again. I'm going to run the jointer over first because I've probably unflattened it a little bit. Right, back that way a bit. It's better. So hopefully that is flat. Now we'll try it now with the little smoother. There's a number 4 smoother. I've got to take quite a hefty shaving off. I've got to set reasonably deep. Oh, let's get the ink again, see if it makes any difference. Wind the plane on. It's like magic, isn't it? It's like magic. Right. So now I'm going to run this up to that knock, so don't go over the knock, so I'll get a broken shaving. And besides, this plane is a lot shorter anyway. Right. Okay. I'm now in place. Can you see that this actual shaving, I think my chip breaker is set too far back. If you looked at all these, the chip breaker has actually allowed the shaving to form into the spiral, whereas this one, this number 4 Stanley Bailey, it's got the standard plane irons as well. That makes a difference. I might make a video about that actually. But as you see, no, I will make a video about that. Check it out later. So if I grab my feeler gauges now, holding that plane down so it doesn't rock about all over the place and fall off. No access at the front of the blade, at the toe of the plane itself, and no access at the heel of the plane. You'll be careful. You've got to hold it down a little bit because otherwise it just tries to push the plane up the other way. All right, but what is it like behind the plane iron? Goes in, no trouble whatsoever. To about there. I would say this little number 4 is pretty flat, to be honest. I don't think that number 5 is as flat as it should be. I might need to work on that still. All right, so there's some, so that is free space there. Okay, and that's because it's balancing from point to point. Now, if I run it forwards, I haven't left any snail trail of red ink yet, so I'm going to run it off the end and see if we get as I drop off the end, get a little bit of ink on the wood. No, I didn't get any ink on the wood. But I have rubbed the ink off the actual plane itself, see? So, that's obviously when I come off the end. Let's try that again. Damn it, try it, maybe the ink isn't very inky. I need a bit more inky. Right, I do. Let's try that, see what happens to that. Right, from there to there. Yeah. Now I've got the run off the end, and then I'm getting a little bit of redness. Can you see that they're just rubbing off a little bit of red ink on the end there? So the point being is, as you can probably tell or see for yourself, it's not really that imperative. I don't think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. I'm going about this wrong. But is it really that important that behind the plane iron is perfectly flat when it doesn't actually make any contact? Now, you see, the thing is, a machine such as a jointer or surface planer has adjustable tables. Now, let me explain that to you. We'll grab a piece of wood as well. And over here we have, this is a machine. So this is the difference between an hand plane and a machine plane like this. Now, this machine has 2 tables, okay? You have your in-feed table here, you have your cutter block, and then you've got your out-feed table. And the out-feed table supports the area for which the wood has been removed. So let me just show you. So we have this area here removed. That now rests on the table. And this particular machine can take up to 5mm in depth. It's quite deep. You can't do that with a hand plane. So it's not so imperative, is it? Your shavings are only like not even 0.5 millimetre, about 1/4 millimetre thick. So it's not quite so important. Obviously, when removing that amount of material, your tables need to adjust. Otherwise, you're just going to be, well, you'll be pushing on here and you'll butt up against, it won't do anything. You just end up butting up against your actual, you'll come over no, actually, what happened is you'll run over the actual cutter block and you end up with a massive snipe because you'll be constantly trying to hang back on the cutter block. So that'd be a really bad idea. See, can you see that on there? There's a massive difference between the in feed and the out feed. Yeah, in feed, so that'd be the in feed side because it's not cut, and that'd be on the out feed side where it is cut. So they do that on electric planes such as those, and also tar planes, you know, like electric, you know, hand planes, you know, electric planes, zzz, type things. The toe moves up and down to allow for the shaving, for the fact that it removes some material, but not on a hand plane. Now, why is that? Leave it down in the comments down below. But as you can see, I think you can agree with me, it doesn't matter if your hand plane is not perfectly flat. What is important, that it's not twisted from end to end, and from there to, and it, save yourself some aggro, okay? Make sure it's reasonably flat, but you haven't go silly. It needs to be reasonably flat, all right? But if you're standing away or doing what you're doing to flatten your sole, you've got a big bit of sandpaper on something you know is flat, like your table saw top or something like that, you glue it down with some put down with double-sided sticky tape, and there you are, trying to grind your hand plane flat. If you're hell bent on trying to remove that area behind the mouth, you're wasting your time. Totally. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't make contact. Doodaloo. Don't forget to beep the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel and the little bell icon, because then you get all those videos in your pocket every time I upload another video. Oh, well, that's me done. Toodaloo.